Well, hello there. How are you going today? Thank you for joining me. And it is once again time to take a stroll through the strange realm we find ourselves in. And 2026 is proving to be quite strange. So don't believe anything I say, guys. Don't believe anything on the videos. This is all for entertainment purposes, right? Yeah, just take the information in and come to your own conclusions. Let's get into it.
So now you're telling me that a group or a pod of dolphins are kidnapping grown-ass men and making them go underwater to build their underwater cities and structures? At this point, I'm not even surprised. If you don't know what I'm talking about, in Lee County, Florida, yes, Florida, a grown-ass man was found on the beach by authorities soaking wet, dehydrated, and confused is what the statement says. But the weird part was he was drawing these detailed diagrams in the sand when the authorities showed up. But that's not even the best part of the story. He claims that when he was out swimming, a pod of dolphins came and kidnapped him. But they didn't kidnap him for like a ransom or anything. No, they kidnapped him and they took him 40 feet underwater to force him to build their underwater city. Now, if you're anything like me, I'm sure your first thought is, well, how did he breathe? And here's the answer. He claims in the statement that there was a head dolphin, an alpha dolphin, and this dolphin's name was Gerald. And Gerald was communicating to him through clicks and telekinesis, and also helping him breathe underwater. Gerald was helping him breathe underwater by a bubble-like system. Gerald sounds pretty cool. I bet you thought this story couldn't get any crazier. I've got your crazy. He claims he was down there for 3 days helping them build their underwater city. 3 days! And after those 3 days were up, he claims that they told him that they were satisfied with his work, so they took him back to the surface. But they told him, we'll be back. We'll be back for you for phase 2. I'm sure if you're still here watching the video, you're like, oh, he was most likely on or drunk. And that was what I thought. But when he got to the hospital and they ran all the tests, this is what's absolutely nuts. Yes, he was dehydrated, but there were no alcohol in his system, and there were no head contusions or blunt forces to the head or any signs of any kind of mental illnesses. They did find marine particles and seawater in his lungs that indicated that he had been at a deep underwater level for a long time without any lung damage. Now, if you're wondering, why him? Why did they choose him? It's because, and he says this in his statement, they chose him because he has a master's degree in aerospace engineering and is extremely knowledgeable in underwater technology. And that's the reason Gerald chose him. And I'm not going to lie, I believe him. I've always heard that it's illegal to communicate with dolphins, but what on earth do you call it when they kidnap you to go build their underwater cities?
What do you think of that one? Gerald the dolphin and his mates kidnapped someone to make him build an underwater construction of some kind. I mean, my first question is, what do dolphins need construction for? It's not like they sit down or go to bed in, beds, or use buildings at all, right? What was this construction? That's my first question. I mean, it's a weird one, right? Especially when they say he had things in his lungs from being underwater. And they say there was no drugs or anything, but he may have had heat stroke. They say he was very sunburned from being out there. I mean, and it could just be completely made up, right? Yeah, I didn't check it. I haven't checked the papers in Florida to see if it's real. Let me know if you have. But crazy, right? Story. But like that guy said, at this point, we're not even surprised. Like, the weirdest stuff could happen. And we're like, yeah, we've had weirder. It's crazy, right? What a strange realm we find ourselves in.
There's a game people say relate to Jeffrey Epstein and the rich elite's whole thing of being taken. Do you remember this game, Bioshock?
Okay, I have seen that.
The whole game, it's about the rich elites, really rich Americans specifically.
Okay.
They live in an underwater world.
Yeah.
Almost like the island, water. All of the monsters they fight are little
You're lying.
What ties it all together to Epstein is wild because there's a machine in the game that reveals fortunes. And it's called Epstein the Swami. And look what it looks like.
In the game.
I'm not even
Oh, hell.
You know what I'm saying though? You pretty much talk to it and it will give you like quotes. And these are some of the quotes it says.
Oh, fuck.
Darling, just close your eyes and hope it's over quickly.
No.
Darling, just close your eyes and hope it's over quickly. Believe me when I tell you, I wouldn't want to be in your shoes.
Look at the bright side. Maybe it'll be quick and painless.
No, bro.
Have you picked a plot picked out yet? That means like, have you picked a spot to
Yeah. Oh.
like a plot?
Even crazier, what if those are actually emails?
It could be like some of the conversations.
That's what I'm saying.
We should put those quotes into the files, and look.
Yeah.
Well, that's a weird one. Bioshock. Have you played it? I've never played it. I'm not really a gamer or anything like that. But I mean, that looks real. I have no reason to think it's not. Epstein the Swami, and that's weird, right? But I mean, we've seen this before in other video games where they hide messages, right? Just like they do in movies and TV shows. So I guess, you know, with Epstein being high up on the ladder, why wouldn't they be putting out messages, right? And it's probably more to just laugh at us and to communicate with each other because it came out recently, didn't it? I think in the files that a lot of these rich billionaire types, including Jeffrey, are big gamers apparently, right? They're in games a lot because they're now using gaming and the chats in them to talk to each other, right? Sort of out of the vision of anyone. So pretty interesting stuff. Have you played Bioshock? Let me know. And how bad is it?
So this is one of the weirdest books that I've ever found thrift shopping. It's called King of the Jews, a novel by Leslie Epstein. And you're like, oh, well, whatever. Like, it's Epstein. Ah! It's Leslie Epstein. You can read some of this if you want. This is the synopsis. And it's about a person named I.C. Trumpelman, who used his power to set up an authoritarian regime in the ghetto. His picture appeared on money and stamps. His word was law. Alternative con man, charismatic leader. Like, I feel like, it's like, no, I'm not Jeffrey Epstein. I'm Leslie Epstein.
Well, that was weird. So that book apparently was written in 1979. The author's apparent author, right? Leslie Epstein, who happens to look a lot like our friend Jeffrey. Apparently the author's father wrote Casablanca. Interesting. And there's all these other weird anomalies that go along with that book. Very strange, right? Again, are they telling us this? Was this put down? Was this actually written in 1979? And if so, where's it been, you're right, for the last 50 years? But also, you know, why? Is it just to put their plan out there and hopefully no one reads it, but they think that they've put it out so that, you know, there's this theory, right, that it eliminates their karma, or at least they believe it does. You know, it's very strange, strange times. There's also been another book, right, about Mr. Trump.
This is the wildest conspiracy I have seen in a very long time, and it has to do with Barron Trump, the son of Donald Trump. So there's a series of books written in the late 1800s by a man named Ingersoll Lockwood. It's about a kid named Barron Trump, and you can't make this up. Barron Trump lived in a castle called Castle Trump, and he had a mentor that goes by the name Don. Barron can be described as a wealthy, intelligent, witty, but arrogant young boy. And in one of the books, they go through a series of adventures with his mentor named Don. They read these manuscripts and discover portals, underground civilizations, and dark forces. This is when it gets even crazier. One of the books is named The Last President. It takes place in 1896, and it's about an election of an unexpected popular president, and protesters take this to the streets, mainly in New York City, where riots break out in response to the shocking election result. The panic stems from the fear that the new leader, who is deeply anti-establishment and opposed by Wall Street elites, will upend the nation.
Yeah, most of you have seen that clip, I'm sure, at least heard about that. I just thought I'd throw it in because it's interesting, right? The book's about Trump, Baron von Trump, by Ingersoll Lockwood. Ingersoll Lockwood, I think his name is. Apparently written in the 1890s, but never seen or heard of again, right? until last year or 2024 maybe. Where was it all that time? Who was holding the copies and then uploaded it to the internet? And the same with the book that we saw about the king of the small hats, right? Where's it been? Where's it been all this time? It's an interesting question, right? Who found it? How did it end up on the internet? So, the Ingersoll Lockwood books, they're real. I've seen hard copies of them. I haven't obviously seen any of the king of the small hats, but in that video he showed the book. So it's crazy. Where are they coming from? What is this all? What is going on? Is this some kind of AI thing, and it's written stuff and then gone back and changed dates on the internet to make us think it's older, but it's not? I mean, I don't know. What are the options here? Is it time travel? Seems to be the obvious candidate, right? What do you think? Leave me your comments. What do you think about time travel? Is this time travel? Because there is a big line, with that whole Trump book involving his uncle and Tesla and Project Looking Glass, all this stuff, and now there's another book in the mix. Is this time travel? Do you believe in time travel? Let me know in the comments. And while I've got you guys, thank you so much for spending some time with me. I do appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying this video. If you are, please do give me a like, a thumbs up, share it round, hit the hype button if you can. I still haven't seen the hype button, but I hear about it. And of course, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button.
Look at that. Tell me why he's got 6 fingers. Why has he got 6 fingers? Look at it. Look at it. That's a literal claw. This is AI. Look at it. He's like got 55 flipping fingers. Girl, it's not even just the 6 fingers. Look at the flipping teeth. Why has he got a piranha mouth? There's 195 teeth in his flipping mouth. He's got 6 fingers on one hand, 10 on the other. This is clearly AI. So everybody's been talking on the internet, chitter chatter. People been messaging me going, Annie, is he alive? I'm like, I don't know. He's supposed to have gone on a plane to Berlin that was going round and round in circles. Other people have said he got hit in Tel Aviv. They don't know if he's in a bunker, if he's hidden away somewhere on an island, or if he's dead as a dodo. No one knows. But what we do know, this is definitely 100% AI, unless he grew extra fingers and extra teeth overnight. Seriously, the teeth though, yeah, that's really scary. It's like, it makes him look more demonic than he actually is. So I don't know. I definitely say something is going on. Now, some of the videos look like AI, some look like they've been recorded before, but what we do know is there has been no public address. Nobody's seen him, and now these AI images have given us all an answer. Something dodgy is definitely going on. What do you think it is? Do you think he's hiding somewhere? Do you think he's injured? Do you think he's dead? Like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, well, if you haven't heard, there are reports circulating that Benny has been unalived. Who knows, right? And that video clip, pretty weird, right? 6 fingers. I mean, I guess there's another option, right? His camouflage system's breaking down and we're starting to see him for what he is. Right? A Nephilim with 6 fingers and 100 teeth. Anything's possible, right? It's 2026, the year of anything's possible. AI, it is interesting, because it most probably is AI. But I thought they got over those problems last year. Right, last year, this is how fast AI is moving, right? Because it used to be a thing where it would do too many fingers and teeth and all this kind of stuff. But I thought they'd sorted that out, but clearly not. But that's crazy. But it also does show us that, how do we know any of these people are still around? How do we know Trump's around? How do we know any of them? We all saw that video, remember, of the Pope, the last Pope, who was up giving an address and then he just disappeared, almost like it was a projection or AI or something that went wrong. So there's so many, all these leaders, we only see them on the screen. Like if they were unalived, but their role, right, was still needed, why wouldn't they just make an AI copy and put it out there? And they do this for so many things. It's just, the world is just, we can't believe any of it anymore, can we? Right? We just do not know what's real and what's fake, except ourselves, right? And other people that we interact with physically and have conversations with, and nature, things you can touch. That we know is real, right? The 3D world. This 2D world, is fast fading. The internet is eating itself.
You mentioned Chernobyl. Russian forces quickly overtaking that area. We understand they are still in control. Another thing that went down today that was of huge importance was Russian paratroopers went into an airfield 15 miles outside of Kyiv, and for a short period of time this afternoon, at least 149 people wounded. Those numbers are going to go up. There's just no question about that. I mean, you have fierce fighting in a number of locations around the country. You mentioned Chernobyl. Russian forces quickly overtaking that area. We understand they are.
I hope y'all understand what's happening there. I really hope y'all understand what's happening there. That was a live news report somebody caught. And this is why, it's a lot of fun to just kind of go online and see what people are catching, because they're showing you things that they're seeing. And I mean, this is coming from the news. Like, this is what's being played on their television. Mainstream news sites are out here broadcasting. And mind you, they had a lot of that during the pandemic. I wish if I had started this show back in 2020, I mean, there was a lot of stuff I could have shown everybody, because it was a lot of stuff out here that was just crazy that, I mean, it's just out there like that.
All right. What do you say to that? It's crazy. And he's right. I actually went and had a look to see if I could get some more. Because I remember lots of footage that's come out, on live streams. There's a lot to do with the weather, but also a lot to do with conflicts and, the whole CVID. Tons of them, right? But I couldn't find any of them. They've all been scrubbed, right? Because, of course, the small hats who run the news and, all the media, they don't want people to start catching on that it's all fake. But people are catching them out all the time, and that's crazy. The one question I got about that video, though, is why would they use real people in those body bags? They're saying that these are the bodies of so many people who were unalived. Why wouldn't they just use mannequins? I mean, that to me is a little bit strange too. So, I mean, then, are we meant to see this, right? Is it put out on purpose? I mean, I don't know. What do you think's going on? Like, how does that make sense? And what do you think about the news? Is any of it real? Let me know your thoughts.
This is real. This isn't. This is real. This isn't. AI fakes are flooding our feeds about the US-Israel war on Iran. This video got 70 million views, claiming to show an Iranian missile attacking a US fighter jet, but it's actually footage from a video game. Some fake videos like this one are more obvious. The fireworks here are out of place, but a still from the same video is much more convincing. Compare this with the real photo, which we have verified, which shows smoke rising, not a fireball. And this is real footage of a strike on a US naval base in Bahrain on Saturday. In the aftermath, a post with this satellite image claimed to show destroyed US radar equipment, but it's an AI fake. The image was based on a Google Maps satellite view from last year, and these cars are in the exact same position. We're only a few days into this war, and the amount of fake videos and misinformation circulating isn't like anything we've seen before. Fake videos are often dramatic, which is what makes them really engaging and shareable.
What is real? What can we believe, right? Again, it's a very strange time to be alive, isn't it? In this world that is, I don't know, quickly fading, quickly faking out. It really is. And again, I think the answer is to get away from the 2D screen and back into the 3D world, right, where we know what's real, because, like I said, the internet's eating itself. It literally is not going to be of much use soon, because at least the social media side, right, because nothing's real. It's all fake. Everyone's doing it for money and likes and all this kind of stuff. And so people are incentivized to put out fake stuff, right, because they can make money from it. Like we saw that jet that was from a video game, 70 million views. Right? Someone would have made a pretty penny off that. But it's becoming crazy. Crazy. I mean, and you got to ask the question, right? If Benny's gone and All that stuff about the war is fake. Like, we don't know what's going on over there. I mean, I'm not saying that nothing's going on. I'm not saying that people haven't been hurt, and obviously that sucks, right? That's really bad. War is evil, clearly, and it's not a human thing. It's not made by men and women, right? It's made by the elites. They don't fight in them. They just create them and then collect their money, because all wars are bankers' wars. But what do we do at this point? Like where do we go? How do we know anything about current affairs? Do we just switch off the whole thing? Because it's probably not a bad idea, right? And just start to focus on our smaller communities and building them without this constant threat, of the boogeyman, which is really the script taken straight out of 1984.
So in early 1946, Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard undertook what is known as the Babylon Working, one of the most ambitious attempts at ceremonial magic in modern occult history. For supposedly 11 straight days, they carried out ritual after ritual, combining sex magic and sigils and trance states. Parsons kept detailed notes describing strange winds, sudden knocks, and what he interpreted as signs that the ritual was progressing. He truly believed what he was doing was going to bring the earthly avatar of the goddess Babylon into physical form. And shortly after this, Parsons met Marjorie Cameron, who he believed was the elemental woman the rituals had summoned. And there was crazy talk that Parsons and Hubert were aiming to magically fertilize a magical child through immaculate conception. He was also just spanking it a lot onto magical tablets. And just to put the timeline into perspective, this all unfolded right before the Roswell incident in 1947. And because of that, there's actually a theory that what crashed in Roswell wasn't an alien craft at all, but the side effects of the occult work that Parsons and his circle were doing in the desert. The idea is that something wasn't visiting us from space, something was pulled through a portal. And according to that line of thinking, Roswell wasn't about extraterrestrials at all. It was about a portal being opened by people who had no idea what they were actually dealing with. Aleister Crowley himself thought the entire operation was reckless, calling Parsons and Hubert pretty much morons and warning them that they were tampering with forces that they didn't even understand. Even if he wasn't successful, this was a moment where an actual rocket engineer thought he had manipulated the fabric of reality and changed the course of human consciousness. Or it was just a bunch of crazies having magic orgies in the desert.
Yeah, Jack Parsons, a big player in the formation of NASA, right? Along with Werner von Braun, who was brought over in Project Paperclip. Crowley was involved in that crowd at least. Crowley brought through the spirit, we'll call it, the entity called Lamb. And you can Google that. There's pictures of Lamb, and it looks a lot like a grey alien. And then Mr. Pyramid Head there mentioned that this was just before the crash, right, at Roswell in the early 50s. And, was that, did they call in aliens? Well, I mean, was that the start of the deception? Is my question, right? Because obviously we've all heard of the Greys, right? That's the most well-known alien. And, the 50s, we have this Roswell crash, and then suddenly we have all these sci-fi series on TV coming out, books, movies, right, which goes through the 60s, right, and everything gets so spacey, right, in the 60s. They're all wearing, like, silver clothes and trying to look like space aliens. We got Lost in Space, and into the 70s we get Star Wars, right, and look at now, right, there's all this stuff in the sky, and there's a lot of talk about alien invasions. Of course, I don't believe in space aliens. I don't discount the fact that there could be something else here, and I think there is, because we have a lot of footage, even going back to paintings, right, which, again, we can't really verify, but paintings that I've seen, 30 years ago with spaceships in them, what look like spaceships. Right? A lot of religious Christian paintings have them. So it looks like there's something going on, something else here, another entity, another consciousness. But in my opinion, they can't be coming from space because it doesn't exist, at least not in the way that we're told. So underwater, there's been a lot of talk of USOs lately, right? And of course, I've done 7 podcasts on that now. Tartaria Australia, the link is in the description. Go check it out. But yeah, that you can see they've built this narrative of space aliens, right? And of course, the moon landing in 1969, it's all about creating this illusion that these entities are coming from space, from other planets. when really it all starts, if you look into it, you know, the modern version starts with Crowley and them conjuring up this entity Lamb who looks like a grey alien, right? So are they covering up the fact that they're bringing in interdimensionals, you know, for want of a better word, into this reality, right? Because then when you look at what they're doing with CERN, quantum computing, and just their general behavior, you know, of ritual and, you know, red liquid sacrifice, you know, all this stuff they do, spirit cooking, all this satanic rituals that they do in concerts, music concerts, and at their Grammy Awards and all this kind of stuff. Like, it's everywhere. And then up to Epstein. And in that video, Mr. Pyramid Head again said that they were trying to bring forth an immaculate conception. Well, look what's come out with the Epstein files, right? All this stuff about human cloning that was going on. And then, of course, that links back to the orphan trains, right? And the baby incubators of the world fairs in the 1880s and 90s. So all of this stuff seems to be linked. It really does. And it's so strange to be living now, because this is stuff that, you know, we've been educated, programmed into believing is just so far outside the realms of reality. But here we are. And it seems to be the most logical solution. Right? Clearly, like, there is something going on, and they are trying to bring in some entity, and they are worshipping a god that demands sacrifice. Very strange realm we find ourselves in. But please, guys, let me know your thoughts on these videos. I would love to hear them. And thank you for spending time with me, especially if you've made it here to the end. I do appreciate it. So please, if you've enjoyed it, give me a like. Leave your comments, share the video around, hype it up, all that stuff. And of course, if you're not subscribed, what the bloody hell are you doing? Hit the subscribe button. And most importantly, stay awesome, keep your mind open, and stay autodidactic. And I'll talk to you on the next upload. Bye for now.